Hey guys, we're here again today at HardRacing. Today we're working on our 2017 Kawasaki Z125 Pro project bike. And today we're going to be installing this SRD Speedo Recalibration Device. They also call it the Speedo DRD, but we like to refer to it as SRD. So Speedometer Recalibration Device. You might be asking, what does that mean? Basically, from the factory, even if you haven't changed your sprockets, your speedometer's going to be off by a little bit. That's just the way it is, the way they've always been, just about for 20 years. They have the setting on the speedometer to be slightly off from what true speed is. And basically, if you change your sprockets, it makes it worse. So generally, if you gear up your bike, you're going to look and think like you're going faster than you really are. Easy way to compare this is to download a little GPS app to your cell phone, turn it on, go ride and compare it, and you'll see what we're talking about. Or if you have a car that generally is a little more accurate, you can have somebody drive 50 miles an hour, you follow right behind them and see what your speed says, and you're going to notice it probably says about 52 to 55. So basically this device is going to help you recalibrate your speedometer so it's accurate, so you actually know how fast you're really going. If you don't care how fast you're going, or if you want to think you're going faster than you really are, then obviously this isn't for you. But if you're like most of us that actually want to know exactly how fast you're going all the time, and also put correct miles on your bike, then this is the device to you. And you might be saying, well, what do you mean correct miles? Basically, if your speedometer, let's just say you're doing 50 miles an hour, but your speedometer says you're doing 52 or 53 or 54, you're adding extra miles on your odometer more than you're actually going, because your speedometer is off, and that's what your odometer runs off of. So by using this, you'll actually have the correct miles on your bike, and you'll have the correct speed. It's a very easy plug and play device. It takes about 5 minutes to install it, and we'll show you now how quick and easy it is. Alright, so basically your speed sensor is back here, right beside your shock. So if you follow your tail section down, see this little blue plug. If you have small hands, you can just reach in there and push the button. Honestly, it's easier to do it with a flathead screwdriver, because pushing it and sliding it out together at the same time is a little bit of a pain. If you take a flathead screwdriver, press on the back of it here, it'll release the hook and basically let you just pop it right off. And then from there, all you're going to do is just plug in one end into the sensor and one end into the wire harness, and then you're going to route this up into your tail section anywhere you want. Very easy to do. Lots of options. You just need it somewhere out of the way in your tail section so that you can program it and set the speedometer. Alright, so once you have the two ends plugged in, this is what it's going to look like. Again, one end goes into the plug, the other one goes into the wire harness. And then you take the free end of the wire and run it back into any one of these little holes to get it up into your tail section up here. Alright, so where we ran it was right up the side of the frame next to the little brake reservoir. Again, you didn't even really have to remove any panels, just fish up there with your hands, and it comes through here, and then you just mount it right there. And basically you just included with it comes a little zip tie. You can just zip tie here. You can really put this thing anywhere you want, but here it's out of the way when you don't need it. If you need to program it, and you just pull it out, and all you're doing is pressing and holding that button to program it and watching the LED flashes. We'll go over that next, but this is basically the install. So zip tie it there to next to these little relays. Just tuck it up out of the way so it doesn't get bumped into or anything, and that's it. Literally 3 or 4 minutes install. And now we'll program the device. So first thing you need to do is go out and drive your bike at a set speed and verify the difference between your bike's speed and true GPS speed. And again, the two ways to do this are: one, download an app. There's tons of free apps for iPhones and Androids to do GPS speed, or find somebody in a car, friend of yours, family member, who has an accurate speedometer, and follow them at a set speed. Tell them to set their cruise control, preferably on the interstate. Don't try to do this on a back road where there's traffic. Have them set it at 50 miles an hour, and then follow them at the exact same speed and distance, and then compare that to what your speedometer says. And most likely your speedometer is going to read high. So if they're doing 50, again, your speedometer is probably going to read 52, 53, 54, could even be 55. That's how much error there is in these factories. And of course, if you change your gearing on your sprockets, it's probably going to be even more. So once you do that, those are the two numbers you need. You need to know the difference between factual GPS speed and what your speedometer shows. So do that first before you go any farther. Alright, next we're going to do the programming. And there are a few different steps you can use to program the device. We have found program number 5 to be the easiest and simplest to figure out and input into the device. And basically, as we explained earlier, you get your percentage error that you have figured out by either following a chase car or using a GPS device. And now you have that number, and now you need to enter that number into this unit, and then it will correct your speedometer. So for our sample today, we're going to use 11.2. And it's going to be a negative 11.2, meaning our device was showing, our gauge, our speedometer gauge was showing 11.2% off of what reality was. So it was basically saying we were doing much faster than what the GPS was. So now we had to take 11.2% off of the reading to show the reality of what the speedometer was actually supposed to show. So first thing you do is turn on the bike. You don't need to start it, you just turn it on. And it'll flash red and green to show you that it's ready to go. Now you need to enter program number 5. And no matter what your correction error is, program number 5 will still be the same. So you'll press and hold the button for 5 flashes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you let go. Now it's flashing green and red, showing you it's ready to accept your programming. The first thing you're going to do is tell it whether you need a negative percentage or a positive percentage. And how you figure that out is, if your speedometer is showing faster than reality, you need a negative percentage. If your speedometer is showing slower than reality, you need a positive percentage. Put that in a little bit more layman's terms. If your speedometer says 60, but your GPS or the chase car that you're following is only doing 55, that means you need to pull some percentage off of the reading to get it to show correct. The other way around is if you're riding and your speedometer shows 55, but GPS or the car in front of you says you're doing 60, you need a positive percentage added on to make it accurate. So Usually the cases in the situation for negative will be if you drop down the front sprocket to a 13 or a 14, or you added teeth in the rear to like a 36 or a 37. In those cases, you're usually going to be showing a higher miles per hour on your speedo than is actual true speed. So in that case, which is the most popular, we are going to do that and explain how to enter in the numbers now. So if you have a negative reading, the first thing you want to do is let go when it flashes red. If you have a positive percentage you need to fix, then you'll let go when it has a green. So we're doing negative today, which is what most of you are probably going to do. So you're going to press and hold this until the red light comes on, and then you're going to let go. Green, red, let go. So now you've told it, okay, this is a negative percentage. Next, you're going to program in the three numbers. In our situation, it's going to be 11.2. So we're going to program in a 1, and a 2. Now, if your percentage is only 2 digits, like an 8.5% or a 7.5%, then your first digit you enter would be a 0. To program a 0, you hold for 10 flashes. In our example here, it's 11.2. So the first number we're going to enter is a 1. So we're going to hold this until it flashes one time. Done. Now we've entered in the 1. Now we're going to enter in the second 1. So now we've entered in a 1 and a 1. Now all that's left is the last digit, which is the decimal point, which is 2. And done. And it flashes orange to let you know it's accepted it. So now we've entered a 1, and a 2, which it reads as 11.2%. And because we did the red in the beginning, it knows it's going to take off negative 11.2% from the speedometer to show you true reading. And again, most common for most everybody is going to be doing a negative, because most everybody did a 13 or 12 or 14 tooth sprocket and geared it up. But for those of you who have done like a 16 tooth front or a taller rear tire like a 140, and your speedometer is actually reading slower than reality, you would do a positive input. And that would have been the green light in the very beginning. That's the only difference between positive and negative, is a green light versus a red light. After you've done that, entering the numbers is exactly the same. Once you've done this, you just zip tie it up out of the way, and you're done. You can go back and check it later on. You can change it for different gearing. You can check and see what your top speed was. It's all in the directions. But this video is just to show you how quick and simple it is to just program the device for your correction error. It's all in percentages. It's all figured out by you doing either GPS, following a car, or on the dyno. And then you're done. And then you can have actual correct odometer reading. You can have correct speedometer reading. And everything will be the way it should be. If you have any other questions or comments, give us a holler at HardRacing.com. We'll get you taken care of. We have these on our website for sale. Just let us know how we can help you out.